And welcome back to In Gear. That's Tommy Two Gloves. I'm Justin, the Two Slayer. Hey, we're recording our 15th and final episode. We'd like to thank Sean, for our technical director, for all his magic. Are you dying? Are you dying over there?
15th and final, right?
Oh, you heard that.
Yeah, this is it.
No, I'm just joking. We're going to stick
15.
around at least for a while anyway. We're enjoying what we're doing, and we hope that our listeners are enjoying the same thing.
We're all checked out.
What did you think about episode 14? How was Scott? Was he entertaining?
So I got to be honest with you. I really enjoyed episode 14 when you have a guest on like Scott. It seems like sometimes it can almost go too long because it's so easy and so simple and effortless to have a conversation with him. And plus the stories he has and the opinions he has is just absolutely amazing.
Oh, I agree.
I really, that's not to say any of our other guests were bad.
No,
because I appreciate anybody who has came to the studio and has taken the time and given their efforts to be on a podcast with us, as well as the listeners, right?
Yeah.
You know, these views and, everything means the world to us. So,
yeah, I mean, with guests like that we've had, and we've had some decent ones. Like, I think that they kind of make our job just a little bit easier, where we got someone we can bounce off of and we can get with their energy and we can just have a great time talking with them.
Yeah. And you don't want to force the conversation either. And I think we've been very, what would you say? We've been very, not grateful, not thankful, but very fortunate to have guests on that have, good stories, good topics, great voices, and just great vibes and everything all around. Great people.
I mean, it's been fun. We don't mind getting a little down and dirty, obviously, but also we love hitting all kinds of interesting topics we enjoy. Of course, we have McDee's and Christina and Scotty as well. Mm-hmm. And they've all been good guests. I think we've kind of moved the bar up almost with each and every guest that we've had.
I agree completely.
And we've got more exciting guests to come in the future. So I would be looking out for those. And also, I'm going to tease this.
Tease it. Tease me. Look at me. Look at me.
Maybe.
You see me?
If you're listening right now, turn your listening ears on.
Tease them.
Yeah. Just maybe in the future, I'll have to share the story of how I got shot, but not today.
Oh, God, no. Oh, that's such a good one. Dude, I actually thought about that today when we were having our meeting before this. And I was thinking to myself, do I bring up like near-death experiences? And I was like, no, because I got a good one and I know you have a great one. And I think maybe that might be a next episode or two, something like that.
It might be down in the future. You know what I'm thinking? Like maybe we think about throwing that out there for like 100 subscriber type deal or whatever it is. Like I know it's a good story.
It's so
I know
good,
I've
dude.
got this story that I want to share with you guys, but I want to make it, worth our while a little bit where, we're really giving you something that like, a lot of people have actually asked me questions. What's the story behind it? What's the story? And it's not that I don't want to share it or I'm embarrassed or anything, but it's just it's a whole process to kind of go down that lane.
Yeah, it's almost like I would say a big portion of the story could be taken as funny, emotional, sad, angry. It's a roller coaster. That story,
it's something.
No matter how you look at it, but
well, let me ask you.
Let's not tease it too much.
Yeah, it's gonna be good. It's gonna happen.
It'll be great.
Let me ask you this though, while I got you, because I've only got you right now.
Yeah, only now.
Tommy, what is one of your favorite segments so far?
Fuck. Okay, so I think instantly. I mean, trying to think back of it, and I'm not trying to be that douchebag that's like, "What do you mean? We've had hundreds of episodes." But we're kind of coming up on episode 15. And we're looking at almost, I think, 20-something hours of footage and conversation. And that's 20 hours. Like me and you, we could talk together all day if we do a cross-country road trip, whatever it may be.
Yeah.
But looking back on it, just all the different stories and stuff we've shared. And if I had a really good segment that I really loved, I would like to, fuck, man. You're putting me on the spot. Do you have one in mind for me that you really like? Because I don't. Let's put it this way. What's my favorite thing that I've talked about that you like? And I'll hit you with what I loved about what you talked about. Because I got one right in the chamber for what I loved about you.
So I think right off the rip, First one that comes to mind for me is good old episode 10 when we both share a shit your pants story.
Oh, yes.
It's funny, it's easy, it's embarrassing.
And we're not the shit your pants show. This isn't the show that we talk about shitting your pants.
Now we talk to other people and are like, hey, you know, I've shit my pants too.
Yeah, dude, you don't
dude. We don't need to hear every shit your pants story.
I'm talking to some of these guests that like I'm like, we have guests lined up and they're like, well, I shit my pants. We're like, we get it. And I appreciate the fact that you shit yourself, but this is not the shit your pants show.
No.
So I think one of my favorite segments that you have done has to be the Wendy's blowjob story.
Oh, that was a fun one to share.
When you decided to go through the Wendy's drive-thru, was that episode not 14? It was episode 13, I believe, right? No, it was episode
It might have been 12.
12, when we had Christina on.
It was Christina's episode, yeah.
Yeah, when she shared herself. Yeah, that was a good one. And it sucks that the funniest things all relate back to shit. Because like I said, we are not the shit show. This is
what? Maybe we are. Maybe that's our specialty. Oh, that's going to be our corner of the market. Well, you're going to come to us for the shit stories.
So one of my favorite segments has to be, I want to say the segment about the high school sweetheart, giving me the herpes. She didn't give me herpes, but like the high school sweetheart that, had herpes, I had to deny. Or I have to say, man, one of my favorite stories is the Bobcat story.
That's a good one.
When I had a bobcat, one of our most viewed videos. For some reason, people like that video. I don't know what the fuck it was.
It's a good video. It was a good episode.
It was a good episode. But yeah, the bobcats out of my car was my favorite. Do you have one inside of, kind of like your holster that you feel is your favorite episode that your favorite subject that you've talked about, your favorite moment?
Oh God. You really did catch me on the spot with that too.
I got one.
Okay.
Fuck, man. All right. What about the 2?
Oh, the 2. Yeah. That's
the 2. That was a good one, dude.
Me. Yeah. That's a good story. I find it funny.
It relates to a lot of people too.
Yeah, I mean, who hasn't just went out there and decided, you know what? I'm probably a little better than this. Not to say I'm like a gorgeous man myself, but I could probably do a little better. It's getting towards
closing time. I haven't really picked up anything. Who's left at the bar?
Yes.
The 2s are the ones that are there just like, oh God, you fucking knuckle down.
Something's better than nothing.
Something's better than nothing. You do what you have to do because it's what's expected of you, not because it's fun, but because that's what you need to do.
It's your duty as an American.
It's your duty as an American. I feel you.
Hey, so you want to go ahead and what can you give us out of the old inbox? Do we have any comments you can give us?
Yeah, so we have also, by the way, I want to say thank you to everybody who's emailed us. We've actually, I'm looking in the inbox now. We've came up on quite a few emails now, and we're slowly getting to them. We're trying not to take precedence. We read them as they come in.
Well, just pick your favorite one.
Well, I'm not going to pick my favorite one because I have a favorite one, but I'm going to pick the most recent one. Something that, I know we've talked about kind of certain subjects and stuff like this kind of pertain to it, and so we appreciate the email. So we got an email from Larry, and he said, "Hey guys, if you guys like conspiracy theories, check this out." Signed, Larry. So I clicked this link, and I remember a few episodes ago we kind of had I'm not sure if it was on the same episode as the JFK assassination, but it was the moon landing.
Yeah, we
were kind of talking about the moon landing.
Mm-hmm.
And so here's the whole general synopsis. I don't know if you mind this, Justin, or I really don't care if our viewers mind this or not, but I would like to read verbatim this, very big article that came out about the Apollo 1 conspiracy theory. So,
okay, I don't think I'm too familiar with that.
And I wasn't either. And then I brought it up, and it sounded vaguely familiar the more I read into it. So it goes something like this. Just days after Gus Grissom, Ed White, and Roger Chaffee were killed in a pre-launch fire, NASA began the arduous process of figuring out just what had happened. If Apollo was going to land a man on the moon by 1970, the agency had to fix the problem and move forward. But as the investigation unfolded, the accident took on a sinister tone with allegations that the crew were responsible for their own deaths or were the victims of murder. So, basically that paragraph refers to basically the Apollo 1 fire was this space shuttle that was going up, and there was a fire in the cabin, and it'll go into this in the article. Basically, it never made it to space. There was a fire, destroyed it.
Oh,
and
that's the one that it caught fire on the launch pad, didn't it?
I think so. We're gonna get into it right now because there's a few different kind of like stories about what they think exactly caused the fire, and which it's actually very interesting. While a NASA-appointed committee investigated the physical capsule for evidence of the fire's cause, Congress investigated NASA. Many representatives accused the agency of unnecessarily racing to the moon. A consequence of this race, they said, was an unrealistic schedule that saw money thrown at compounding problems without ever getting to the root of the issue. NASA then had deliberately and knowingly put the Apollo 1 astronauts in danger. NASA knew the risks of oxygen fires. Multiple military experiments in oxygen environments ended with the loss of life, but didn't push for a two-gas system in the spacecraft. Some accused the agency of criminal negligence. Others looked more closely at the cause of the fire, parentheses, arcing wires, than the pure oxygen environment, and this shifted the blame onto the crew. People recalled seeing Grissom throwing his helmet into the capsule in frustration, a simple action that could have damaged the wires where the fire started. Others suggested that Grissom had kicked these wires by accident. So basically, what happened was, there was a fire in the capsule, and instead of really getting to the root of the issue, it seems like they were just throwing money at issues that weren't really getting to the root of it, and they're just trying to fix things that weren't really the problem. Kind of like when you have a car that you don't really know what's wrong with it, so you throw a bunch of money at it, hoping it'll fix the problem instead of actually spending time getting to the root of it.
Yeah.
I don't know. Do you have an opinion on any of that, or?
Well, I mean, obviously, and comparing it to cars is a good idea. So when you have a car issue, you don't want to just throw money at it. That's not good diagnostics.
Mm-mm.
That's not being an automotive technician. It's just throwing parts at it until you magically come across the one that's actually giving you the issue.
Yeah.
You want to diagnose the issue, spend the minimal amount of money fixing exactly what's wrong with it, and move on.
And that's on a minimal scale. On the huge scale that we're looking at when it comes down to human life, and I guess some could relate these issues that you're having, with cars could directly relate to the loss of human life. When it comes to something like an Apollo mission, right? The loss of life is the percentage and the portion. What would you say the percentage? But the likelihood that loss of life happening is exaggerated much more than it would be a car. So to say a car and that is relatable, it's not. But to base it, really bring it down to a most basic level, I definitely agree with you in the sense that you just don't throw money at it.
No,
that's not what it's all about. You get to the root of the problem. You fix one little thing.
Yeah, you definitely want to know especially in spacecraft, man. You need to identify what the issues are. You need to remedy those issues.
Any aircraft.
I mean, they're probably paid a lot more money than you or I to figure out what these problems are. I mean, a lot of these guys, even the technicians, I mean, they're very qualified individuals, astrophysicists, aerospace engineers. I mean, so they're paid a lot of money to do exactly what they needed to do there, and that was identify these issues.
Exactly.
And if what's true, where they're saying during military style training, they're running into exactly these problems, then I think that maybe they ought to just go ahead and address it before ever trying to launch a man in space.
Yeah, if you listen early in the article, it was the great space race, right? Everybody had this goal of getting there for some reason before 1970. And there is actually a quote, right? It's not off topic, but I would like to. My father brought this up a long time ago. Kind of like why he thinks.
Your father, that's right. And what's his name? Jeff? R.I.P. Jeff.
So, yeah, Jeff. His name was Jeff. So basically, there's multiple accounts of Grissom saying, when they were doing tests of their communication equipment, I can't hear what you're saying. I don't understand you. And there was this one quote Here it is. Before the capsule caught fire, Gus Grissom, how are we going to get to the moon if we can't talk between 2 or 3 buildings? And he said to them, like, how are we going to do this if we can't establish simple communications between 2 or 3 buildings, but you're expecting to have a live feed from the moon to the Earth in 1969?
Yeah.
And, because I know we have differing opinions on the moon
And when was the
landing.
Apollo 1 fire? What was that? Probably like 63 or something like that?
No. Was it? I'll just bring it up right now because I don't want to give anybody like false facts. It was on 1967, so 2 years before we actually made it to the moon. It was January 27th. Actually, we're coming up on the anniversary of that in 3 days.
Damn.
3 days will be the Apollo 1 setback. That's when it'll be. So that's actually kind of convenient
So the day
for
after
us.
this is published.
Yes, yeah. So a day after this is published. Yeah, is it? This is the 24th today. So it'll come out. Yeah, a day after the 26th, 27th. Yeah. So basically, continuing on, this is what happens. Others looked more closely at the cause of the fire. Okay, I fucked up. Okay. The idea that Grissom was responsible irked a lot of people. Many found this finger pointing to be an outrageous carryover of the blame he shouldered over the loss of his Liberty Bell 7 capsule. In 1961, after splashing down from a 15-minute suborbital flight, the hatch on his capsule opened prematurely.
I remember that.
Do you?
Yes, I do. Well, I don't remember it happening. I wasn't alive.
But you've heard of it?
I've definitely heard of that one, though.
Okay, dope. It promptly flooded and sank. The blame fell on Grissom. He must have accidentally detonated the hatch's explosive bolts or else panicked and opened the hatch too early in his haste to get out.
Yeah,
Wally
they
Schirra...
basically blamed him for that.
Did they?
Yes.
So Wally Schirra offered the best proof that this wasn't the case. After detonating the explosive bolts on the hatch of his Sigma 7 capsule, his hand was bruised and cut. Grissom's wasn't. Still, the astronaut was never able to shake the hatch blower reputation.
Right.
As if criminal negligence and astronaut carelessness wasn't enough, the Apollo 1 story took on another dimension in 1999. Scott Grissom, Gus's then 48-year-old son, came forward saying his father had been murdered. So before I go on to the next one, what do you think about that? Because I know you mentioned something about the
what's the motive there though? Why do we need to kill Gus Grissom?
I think it's like, I would like to be like super conspiracy theory, like, hey, this guy's like telling people, hey, this isn't gonna work. And they're like, no, shh, it'll work. And it's like, oh my God, all of a sudden he died. It's like, sometimes I feel like the saying, like, you're too smart for your own good might, like, hey, but how about you just shut up and do it? Might come into play there. I don't know. Like, I don't know why people would think he was murdered. I don't. Do you have an opinion on that?
Because I guess that's the only thing I can think of is like he started asking questions like, like you said, how are we going to communicate in space and we can't talk between 2 or 3 buildings?
Exactly, yeah.
Well, maybe they heard other things like that and they sensed some type of negativity and they decided, hey, Gus has to go.
Yeah.
But I mean, wouldn't it just have been just as easy to be like, hey, he fell out of the program or something. See you later. I don't know.
Yeah. I agree with you. So we come up to, there's a little blurb in here that just states NASA's first disaster happened on the launch pad. Like you were saying.
Yeah.
It happened on the launch pad.
Well, it wasn't just him that died either, wasn't it? There was 2 or 3 people in that capsule.
Yeah. So if I go back, there was a few of them in there. It was Gus Grissom, Ed White, and Roger Chaffee.
So they all died.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
So the younger Grissom had his suspicions in the 1960s, but wasn't able to prove foul play until the 1990s, when he was granted access to the charred Apollo 1 capsule. Rooting around the instrumentation, he found a quote-unquote fabricated metal plate behind a switch on one of the instrument panels that controlled the source of the capsule's electrical power. It's placed behind that switch, he said, which clearly an act of sabotage. It ensured that when any crew member toggled that switch, there would be a spark. That spark would have been enough to start the fire that killed the crew. So basically, it was so his opinion is it's been sabotaged. If anybody tries to mess with that, it's going to cause a spark and then set the Hell capsule on fire.
Maybe.
Yeah. So,
and with those rockets, man, they're sitting on like liquid fuel. Like they're lucky the whole thing didn't go up, and you just have
it's
like
a flying bomb.
an inferno right there on the launch pad.
Yeah, it's a flying bomb.
It would have left a crater, man.
Mm-hmm.
Thankfully, somehow only the capsule went up.
Yeah. So, as a motive for murder by sabotage, Scott Grissom said NASA wanted to prevent his father being the first man on the moon. He said the agency...
I feel like they could have just selected somebody else to go on the moon.
I know. Like somebody more like, oh, yeah, I'll do whatever you say. Like, oh, it's cool. I feel like he's one of those guys, like I said, that's like too smart for his own good. It's like, hey, this isn't going to work. I don't know why we're doing this. Like, they thought they had the right guy. But then once he, initially was like, no, this isn't going to work. They're like, oh, fuck. All right, well, whatever. So he said the agency never got over the embarrassment of losing the Liberty Bell 7 capsule, and didn't want the same astronaut commanding a mission as historic as the first moon landing. It's a story that's been floating around for a while, but it's a hard one to swallow.
Yeah, I don't know if I do, man. I think if they really just were disgraced by Gus Grissom, they could have just sent him packing, and I don't think there would have been much suspicion there. Like, I just feel like whoever they select for the moon landing, they could have put Alan Shepard up there. Alan Shepard was the first person to orbit the globe, first American to do it anyway.
Do you feel like it was more of like a you know too much, let's just get rid of you sort of deal?
No, I don't. I feel like that's just a bunch of nonsense, if you ask me. I just 1 + 1 in this situation doesn't make 2. I don't see how they have to kill this guy, even if they're embarrassed by Liberty Bell 7. They could just fire him or find some reason for him not to be in the program or whatever.
I don't want to like put you on the spot here with something. I think you might know a little bit more about this than I do, or I know some of our viewers do. The Challenger.
What do you want to know about the Challenger?
That went up and that exploded. I know there's a lot of video out there.
In 1986.
And 86. And that went up and that exploded. And I believe there was a teacher on board, wasn't there?
There was.
There was a teacher on board, and they all, unfortunately perished. Are there conspiracy theories surrounding that? Like,
I don't know if there are.
Do you know enough to give us a quick rundown of what happened on the Challenger?
Oh, you know what? I really just don't. And you know what? I've looked into it several times because it's actually a story I'm kind of interested in.
Yeah.
But right now, this very second time, I've forgotten what they identified was the issue. And I think the problem with the Challenger and probably a few other ones is, it's really hard to tell. Lots of times with wrecks, you can go back and you can say, okay, we kind of have all the pieces.
Yeah,
we can put them together. Yes, we can rebuild and figure out what the point of failure is on this shuttle. But because it exploded into nothing. Yeah. Like there's no reconstruction of the scene that's going to happen there. It's just obliterated into nothing.
Yep. So it's how can you rebuild that crime scene? It's almost impossible.
I think they determined, now it's coming back to me. I believe what they determined is if you've seen these space shuttles go up, it's the space shuttle and it's attached to 3 rockets, one really big one in the center.
And then the 2 split off,
and then 2 orange ones on the side.
Mm-hmm.
And I think they determined that one of the outside ones, the orange ones, had a leak and it burned into the bigger one and just caused a huge explosion. And that could be wrong. I'm not saying that's exactly how it went down, but I think one of the booster rockets had a leak and it caused overheating of the other rockets and just caused a massive explosion.
Yeah. Just another unfortunate event. So the brief analysis is what I'm reading now. And like, I probably got to throw like some sort of like reference in here. So this article is just posted by Seeker, and they post a lot of good articles. So that's just what I'm rolling off of. So the brief analysis of this, and I actually almost want to like click this because it looks really good. And I don't mean to like be crazy here, but grief over. So the brief. So I'm sorry. The last paragraph is grief over losing the crew, coupled with the stress of Apollo's tight schedule, led many high-ranking officials to leave the space program entirely. Some were too emotional over the loss to return to work. The fire and subsequent investigation nearly destroyed NASA, and Apollo came dangerously close to cancellation. It's unlikely the agency and those charged with fulfilling President Kennedy's dream would have risked so much to prevent one man from walking on the moon. So that kind of goes back to what you were saying. Why would they risk everything to prevent that one dude who they felt like was like kind of like, oh, he's too much, he knows too much. Like, why would they do all of this and risk all of that to just prevent that one guy from walking on the moon?
If anything, I think it'd make an argument for like a nice redemption story. If you really believe like he's the guy that chickened out and blew the hatch on the Liberty Bell.
Yeah.
Okay, well, he got his shit together and he got on the moon. That'd be kind of like a cool, hey, the guy messed up and then he came back around and made things right and now he's on the moon, go America kind of storylines. So I just don't buy it. I just don't.
Yeah.
I think it's probably more so those ideas of, NASA was in a hurry. They had a huge budget at that point. They were throwing money at problems, and no one's really at this point solved the space problem, how to get to space, how to get to the moon. I mean,
Yeah.
Russia's working on it. The United States is working on it. There's probably a lot of trial and error, and probably a lot of our like production practices and safety measures in the 60s and learning from these issues was not in place as it is today in all sorts of industries where you can work at a factory. I did for a while where I worked at this factory, and whenever we had some type of injury, and most of the time they were very small, but if you did, they would like analyze the shit out of these incidences and be like, how did this guy, put a cut
on a very
his hand?
small level?
It'd be a cut on the hand. They'd be like, let's break it down. Why did he get a cut on his hand? Why did this all happen? And they'd study it. And I think that's something that came from these types of things where we have these industries that are like on the cutting edge, much like professional race car driving, where like a lot of your safety features in cars today are from professional race cars
F1 Niki Lauda
of years before.
Yeah.
Where they learn these are safer ways to operate these vehicles at high speeds.
So I just can't help but like, because, like we've already touched on the moon landing, whether we've made it there or not. And we've only touched on that because I think we could probably talk for hours and both have, because we're on both opposite ends of the spectrum when it comes to yes or no, right? I think that's fair to say, like, and that's fine. The difference in opinions is fine. But I always, when you look at history, when you look at the Germans in the 1940s, right? They were like exponentially farther than any other, country, anybody else.
Yeah, they were pretty advanced. They had a lot of technology.
Yeah, their technology, everything they were doing, their science, they had the best of everything, right? And then eventually, I believe I was talking to somebody today, and he like went to college for like a bunch of this like history stuff. So maybe he's wrong, maybe he's right. But he was telling me, like, at the time that Germany was overthrown and they had lost the war, basically the United States and Russia both kind of got like a little bit of each. So what I mean when I say that is we got some German scientists and Russia got some German scientists.
I think so.
So both of us kind of like got some of these great, big, scientists. And by the way, the Germans were the first people to discover that there was a direct correlation between smoking cigarettes and lung cancer.
Yeah, actually, I think I read something about that.
They were the first
not that
ones.
long ago.
So like, it's okay to say, and it's obviously documented that the Germans were way ahead of their time when it came to technology, in a lot of the ways.
Yeah. No,
Now,
I think that's pretty well established.
When you move forward a little bit, you look at the Great Space Race.
Now, getting beat in a world war it's probably going to slow you down a little bit. I'm not going to lie. Like,
yeah, but it doesn't take away the knowledge.
No,
that
but
a lot
I
of
think
these
it
scientists
redistributes it. Like, so we probably took most of our technology or most of what we could learn from them, whatever was remaining at the end of the war, and we tried to gather as much of that as we could and take and run with it.
Yeah, and when you get down to the space race, right? It's like, in my mind, I put it in two categories. I picture Russia, United States, right? You put these two big superpowers that are like going against each other. Like, And I feel like I don't know why. I think like maybe you have an opinion or like
well, in the 60s, and I'm not sure on like, post World War II geopolitical climates, but I'm pretty sure um that Russia was not as poor as they seem to be today. Like in a lot of
not at
Russia,
all.
especially in like the 80s and 90s, and I think even
Mm-mm.
still today, they were like broke as shit.
Yes.
And then I don't think they fully recovered from that to even today. But I think back in the 60s, even into the 70s, they were strong and they were powerful.
Yeah, and Russia, in my opinion, it was like Russia. I always said this like an episode or whatever, 4 episodes ago when we talked about the moon landing. Russia was like on the peak of like being on the moon. They were like, we are there.
I think they had the first people in space. If I'm
they
not mistaken.
did before us. They were like there, like we got it. We're so close, and then all of a sudden, America is just like, yeah, we made it. We're there. We have established ourselves as having the scientific power, the economical power, and just the technology and whatever it may be that all encompasses what it takes to get to space. Like, yep, we got it. And I feel like that was a big kind of like big dick move to be like, hey, Russia, look at us being America. This is what we have, right?
Maybe.
And that's how I kind of felt because that gets into politics and that gets into, like you said, what was it, geo-economical, climates and stuff like that.
Yeah, colostomies.
Yeah, colostomy bags and whatever it may be. So I don't know. The Apollo 1 conspiracy theory is just another one of those things that we may never know exactly what happened. But I think one of the greatest things about life and some of these experiences that all of us go through, because I know like I kind of want to bring up, I'm going to tease it. You tease a little bit of a great subject, but I want to tease a little bit of subject. I would like to bring up maybe in the next few episodes, the 9/11 conspiracy theory.
Did we talk about that already?
We brought up our experiences with 9/11.
No, we haven't got into that fully yet.
We talked about kind of like where we were. It was I think we briefly touched on 9/11.
Yeah.
But there's like a slew of conspiracy theories that come from, 9/11.
Well,
itself.
what we always do. I don't know why we even do this at this
What?
point. We always say, oh, we're not the Poop Your Pants show. We're not the conspiracy show. We're not any of these shows. But then we continue to just do these things. And I'm not saying that's a bad thing at all.
Mhm.
But I think we just take it in directions that interest us. And we hope that our viewers want to go along for the ride.
And I don't think that like we are not like, and I always say this all the time, we are not like, you do not go to someone and be like, well, Ingear podcast said this, so it means it's right. We take like anything, we take all this information, we kind of gather it, and we form our own opinions based off the information that's given to us, right?
Sure.
So, and I think that's what everybody does.
Yeah,
they might
I'd
listen
say
to
so.
our podcast amongst 20 other podcasts and form their own opinion about what goes on. And I think that's one of those great big mysteries, as well as any conspiracy theory. And we might not be the Shit Your Pants show, we might not be the herpes show, the BDSM show, the Bobcat show, the car show, as much as we'd like to be, the sex show, but like we at least try to, and hopefully for our viewers can break it down to a sense where the average Joe can hop on in who doesn't really know much about a lot of this stuff and be like, hey, now I've gained a little bit of piece of information, It's just one of those things that makes Ingear podcast diverse and great.
I
But
agree with you
listen-
100% too. And that's the thing too. Like you might have another favorite podcast out there, but let me tell you this right here and right now.
Tell them.
You have never heard Joe Rogan tell you about like him shitting himself,
No.
or he's never explained to you how much penis size matters to him on a woman.
Nope. He hasn't.
So that's what you come here for. And that's what
Exactly.
you're going to get when you come into InGear Podcast. As
I agree with
always,
you.
though, we love to hear from you. Hit us up at ingearpodcast@gmail.com. We're going to take a break. We're going to come back and have a little bit more fun, I think.
Yeah, well, I think a little bit more for lighten it up a little
Lighten
bit.
it up a little bit.
I think it was a good subject.
It's
I
a
think
good
we
subject.
had a good talk.
It's still something we enjoy, but we like to go all different directions. That's what you
Exactly.
get here.
I agree with you. Well, Justin, thank you for being on the show.
As always.
As always. Hey guys, and welcome back to the second half of our 15th and final. Just kidding. Not kidding. Just kidding. Actually, super kidding. Justin, tell me. Justin,
No,
Justin,
we're kidding.
reassure.
We're
here.
kidding.
Yeah,
I guess
we're
no
kidding.
one's going to believe us now until they see episode 16. We're back for 16.
Yeah, we're going to continue this till the day we die. So I'm
How about
Tuberculosis
that?
Tom. That's Jeremiah Justin. We're back. We're ready for this little extra, little half portion of the show. So, Justin,
Yo,
opinion.
I'm ready.
Actually, question.
Okay.
All right, it's a hypothetical. So I know
My
me and
personal favorite type of question.
So I know me and you both, right? We are very caring and supportive of the LGBT community, whatever your fucking preference is. We don't really give a shit. It's just all humans are humans, whatever the fuck it may be, right?
Sure.
So
Yeah.
I got a question for you. Right now, picture this. You're a hideous man.
I don't have far to reach to get there.
You're completely disgusting.
Okay.
Like, I'm talking like a 1 out of 10.
Okay.
No one would touch you unless they were like gun to their head, right?
Yes.
But you can either get with, I'm sorry, you're how you are now.
Oh, okay. Now I'm back to normal.
Now you're back to normal, right? So you can either, get with women who are 1 out of 10s for the rest of your life.
Uh-huh.
So basically, they are hideous, disgusting, just terrible. Like no one, you'd have to pay money to like have to sleep with these women. Like they would have to pay you, right? They're so disgusting. That's the path you choose. Or you can choose this other path. The other path is you can sleep with 10 out of 10 women. Like ideally from the outside looking in, they are gorgeous, they're hot, they're looking great.
What's the catch?
They're looking awesome, but they have a penis. That's it.
Oof.
No, dude, listen to me. That's it. All they have is a penis. So you
Oh,
can
it's just
either
a
put
little
up.
penis to
So
ignore.
imagine the coworkers, imagine your family. They can either understand that, hey, Justin is only gonna fuck these ugly women, or Justin's bagging 10 out of 10s. Because we all know transgender women, a lot of the times, no, I don't say a lot, but there's a good handful of them that will make better looking women than girls make good looking women.
Maybe you make a great looking woman.
Maybe I would with puppies like these, dude. So my question is, are you taking the path of only fucking disgusting trash bag, disgusting shit looking people, or are you going with great looking, gorgeous people that just happen to have genitalia you're not interested in?
I'm gonna go ahead and choose celibacy.
That's not the choice.
God, you always do this.
That's not the choice. That's it's pretty straight, clean cut.
Yeah, clean cut.
Clean cut. It's
I
straight
don't
to
think
the
clean
straightforward.
cut is the words you want to use there. That's not the verbiage we're looking for.
Mhm.
Man, why you gotta do this to me? I'm probably still choosing the ugly women, man,
Why?
because they have an appendage that I like to utilize from time to time.
I have to tell you, some of the most gorgeous and beautiful looking women I've ever met in my life are transgender.
That's great, but I don't want to tuck a penis out of the way.
You don't have to look at it, dude. Do you not understand? You don't have to touch it. But I don't
It's
think
there. You know it's there. It's not just like, oh my goodness, I'll just pretend that she doesn't have 6 toes on her feet. No, I don't want my balls slapping hers, man.
Well,
and that's fine if you do, but like, that's not me.
Now here comes the conversation of an experience I had with one of my very good friends, one of my best friends. We'll just refer to him as Pizza John.
Okay.
Pizza John.
Yeah, Papa John.
Yeah, made out of pizza, dough and
Yeah.
crust. You know the guy, right?
Oh, yeah, we've met. We worked on the Subaru together. You,
Yeah.
me, and him.
Yeah, his name is he's made out of pizza.
Yeah, he is a piece of like crust, and then he has some sauce laid down with some mozzarella on top.
Exactly. So here's what happens. I'm like down chilling in my like hometown. I got this apartment. I just recently became single, and I'm chatting with this woman, right? And I'm
Okay.
like, oh my God. Actually, I met her at a Subway sandwich station.
She's
So I'm
probably
sitting
looking
there.
for some footlongs, huh?
Yeah, well, here's the thing, dude. I'm sitting there and I'm with my buddy Joe. We call him Creamy Joe. And I'm standing there with him. We're getting some pizza. We're about
So
to go.
you got a buddy that's named Pizza, and you have another buddy named Cream.
No,
like,
Creamy Joe.
like, do you have a grapefruit for a friend or something?
Grapefruit. No, dude. His name was Creamy Joe.
Yeah, I guess.
Is that too difficult for you to understand?
No, I understand both of those words there. They just
And don't even get me started. I got this other guy. I got this other buddy, Sean. We call him Arizona Can Sean.
let me guess why. He's got some fucking thunder meat in his pants.
Yeah, dude. It's disgusting.
Is it 99 cents?
It's like so disgustingly big. That's like, what can you do after that? But the worst part is he's gorgeous.
Yeah.
And yeah,
That really messes with your mind.
yeah, dude, it's so terrible. He's gorgeous and has a humongous dong. How dare he? So here's the thing. I'm out at Subway
Okay.
with Creamy Joe. And I'm ordering a 12-inch cold cut combo on Italian herbs and cheese bread.
If you don't go with the herbs and cheese, what are you doing? I went to Subway like 2 weeks ago, man, and we got in there late at night, and all they had was wheat left. They're about to close, and they're like, hey, we're not making any more herbs and cheese. We don't even have the flatbread. You can do wheat.
You'd think at this point they'd have to understand that the Italian herbs and cheese is the best bread. And I don't even want to say it's because it's Italian herbs. It's just you hear cheese and you hear bread in the same sentence. You're
I
like,
want that
yes,
cheese bread.
I want cheese bread. Cheese
Yeah.
bread. Cheese bread cold cut combo. Yes, exactly. Oh my God. So I'm at this Subway and I'm ordering the sandwich, and Joe goes in front of me. He orders a sandwich. I'm up next to him, and I'm on the prowl for some poontang. I'm out there like looking for like my next little piece, right?
I guess.
And I see this girl, and she is like gorgeous, like blonde, long hair, tight little waist, fat cheeks, like gorgeous face. And I'm like, okay, cool. I'm interested. I'm down. So, things go on, whatever. And I get to the portion of my sandwich building experience where I have to add vegetables. You know me, I add 0 vegetables. I want mayonnaise. And when I tell them I want mayonnaise, I tell them, hey, I want all of your mayonnaise.
You somehow are a mayo guy. I think because you like things thick and creamy.
And like, I just felt like we were vibing too well for like me to like I could never pull this in my life.
Yeah. She's
So,
gorgeous.
We wind up like, I catch the name on her fucking name tag. It was like, let's just say it was
Tiffany?
no,
Steve?
maybe like Shovel,
Shovel.
Snow Shovel.
Yeah.
Yeah, her name's Snow Shovel, right? Yeah.
That's a lot of
So-
work to put in on a fictional name, but okay.
Yeah. Yeah. So I wound up like leaving the fucking place, and like I lived in such a small town that you could pretty much find anybody you wanted to because everyone lived so close. Like even if you didn't search a name, you'd find them in your suggested friends because the town was so small. So I ended up finding her, and we're like, talking, hanging out, doing the whole thing. And I wound up finding Snow Shovel. And I'm like, hey, well, what's going on? We want to chat it up, whatnot, doing the whole thing.
Oh, yeah, of course.
And we go through the whole, XYZ, plan A to plan B, fucking first base to home run. And I'm like, cool, super dope human. I'm like amazed with this. And then I wound up taking a look. She finally added me on Facebook. So I took a deep look, and I found out that this woman used to be a male.
Oh, well, that's exciting.
So she used
There's
to
a
be.
little bit of something for everybody there.
It was different for me, and I don't mean to shit on people who are a part of the transgender community because I'm not trying to divide anybody or like really shit on anybody because we've all been there. So I'm like talking to this woman.
Wait, how have we all been there?
You just know,
Yeah,
You've probably
okay.
been there. You just don't know yet.
Okay.
So here's what happened. Here's what happened. I wound up like adding her on Facebook, and I have to go down like 7 years. And I go down like 7 years of being like a real creep, just trying to because there's something off about this. I scrolled like, why is this gorgeous woman, in love with me? Why is she all about me? Whatever it may be. So I'm scrolling down, and I wind up finding out that in like 2009 she was born a man.
Oh.
It was super different for me because up to that point, I am under the impression that this is a woman. And like I said, I don't shit on transgender people. I don't have a really necessarily opinion, but I feel like when it comes to that sort of situation, I don't know if you can, butt in on this. I feel like when it comes down to a person's, pronouns or what they identify as, it's not so much, or maybe for some people, it's not so much that you're against them or them as a person or that, but you would just like a certain amount of honesty, right?
I guess I can
involved
see
with
that. Yeah.
Well, tell me about it because I want to take a sip of my
So
drink.
like you're basically what you're saying here is like you would have been a lot more interested in this woman if they had just came out and told you ahead of time that they used to not completely be a female. Then at that point you would have been like, that's dope, let's have a great relationship and get married.
And yeah, kind of like, so for me, like at that point, like, because you obviously like, there's been many a times where I right off the bat sleep with women, just like first date, at a club, go where it's going, do what you got to do, right?
Sure.
But with this person, it was super funny, super hilarious. Everything was going too great. And I felt almost betrayed at that point because if they would have disclosed that information to me beforehand, I have to be honest, I probably wouldn't have been like as into them. Mostly because there happens to be a appendage that a biological male has that I'm not very interested in, that I'm not very too fond of. Not that I wish mine was just destroyed and ran over by a train, but that I just don't feel like I would have been interested in sexually. So what happened was I went up meeting this girl. We hit it off. It was great. It was super fun. I found out she was transgender. Cool. But I also felt betrayed, because she was like, well, I didn't tell you that. So, things kind of dwindled off. Right.
Yeah.
And I remember one day I'm hanging out with this guy I like to call Diarrhea John, Pizza John. He's made of dough and crust.
Okay.
And we run into my Subaru because I had that 08 WRX I was telling you about.
The blue one.
Yeah, the blue one. And we're up at the top of the hill and we just pulled in and we leave. And I'm walking down the hill and this girl in this tight black dress. What are you doing right now?
I'm rubbing my eyes. Can I rub my eyes?
You think that's allowed here?
You see, that's the problem here. Whenever I come here, every time I move a hand or I want to think for 2 seconds, then next thing you know, you come in here and you're like, what are you doing right now? You're ruining my life. And here it is. I'm just trying to go over here and be comfortable. I might adjust a sock or something next. So I don't know if I need to warn you in advance about that or what's going to happen with that.
Are you done?
Yeah.
All right. Here's the thing. Here's what happened. So we're walking out of this car and this girl comes out and she's in this tight black dress. I'm talking like double cheeked up, tiny waist,
juicy,
like gorgeous, juicy as fuck. And I'm like, I elbowed John. I'm like, yo, dude, what do you think about that? And John's like, hell yeah, brother. Like, I'm into it, awesome, cool. I'm like, well, that happens to be a man. And all of a sudden he's like, oh, no, now I'm not into it. And I honestly felt like, in the heat of the moment, like if that woman was to come up to you and like hit on you, a lot of dudes probably would have taken it and, not taking it being it, but, kind of would have been like, okay, I understand, like what's going on, okay, cool. And like pursue that woman as in the sense of it being a woman. But like, my question to you is, do you feel like people need to be open and honest, whether it's a woman to a male about her sexuality,
Yeah.
Do you believe it has to be someone who happens to be transgender or identify as a he, she, they, them, whatever their pronouns may be? Do you feel like it's imperative in today's dating culture to disclose how you feel about someone? Not how you feel about someone, but like your personal pronouns? Or do you feel like there's the argument to be said that if you vibe with someone, or you enjoy them, and like, I don't know. I'm kind of like,
Well, let me tell you this.
well, tell me this. Hold on. You see me? You see this?
Of course, I see you.
All right, tell me,
That's
because
not. That's not
I'm trying
real,
to like
dude.
keep like this is a very controversial subject.
So, first of all, I can appreciate everybody coming from all different walks of life.
Of course.
And I would even venture to say that we are far more progressive in this day and age than we were, 20 years ago.
1,000%. I agree with you.
That being said, though, I can understand how a heterosexual male would maybe not be interested in having some type of relationship with a transgender woman or transgender men or whatever it might be.
Yeah.
But I can also understand from their point of view how we're not so progressive that coming out and saying, hey, I actually was not born a woman can cause a lot of problems for them.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, it could be anything from being harshly judged, insulted, maybe assaulted even.
Yeah. A lot of
there's a
transgender
lot
people
of there's a
suffer from
lot
that,
of
yeah.
country bumpkins out there with not a lot of tolerance for shit like that.
Nope. It's fucked up.
Yeah, so I can understand where they're hesitant to bring that to the forefront early on in any type of relationship.
Yeah. Yeah, of course. So like, do you feel like, I don't know how to put this, but like, do you feel like people need to be straightforward with topics like that? And I feel like some people, especially transgender men, transgender women, they feel like they need to sometimes, maybe like, I don't know if I know this or if this is true or not, but 50-50, they feel like they need to disclose that because like you said earlier, there are some transgender women that, will get assaulted, or transgender men that will get assaulted and beaten up and like deal with these social, discrepancies and these altercations that are just because they feel a certain way or they want to dress a certain way. You know what? Do you kind of get what I'm saying?
No,
Like,
I think that's a real possibility, and it's unfortunate to say that somebody, let's say, who just because they might have got hit on or had someone express interest to them that's living a lifestyle they don't understand,
are we going into red t-shirt guy right now?
that they feel the need to go ahead and attack the person that would be interested in them.
Well,
Ooh,
hold
why
on.
don't we talk about red t-shirt?
Let's talk about red t-shirt. But I want to double back to like I said, like we have to touch this very carefully because we've made it very clear whether this is true or not, whether our viewers think this is true or not. I couldn't say like I feel like I'm more open now than ever. I don't know if you feel this way too, but like me specifically, I'm sure you might be able to test this, but like in Colorado and stuff like that, I was able to go to drag shows and meet, a certain amount of transgender men, certain amount of transgender women.
You and I both went to Club Q, and viewers, you can look this up. Not long after we left Colorado, or right before that,
Oh yeah,
there was a shooting that happened there. I
Yep.
don't remember like what the motivation was behind that, but obviously we don't want to see anybody
no.
at a club or a bar or any nightclub where someone goes in there and starts shooting up people. That's completely the wrong answer. That person must have been deranged. I don't know.
But I'd have to say I feel like I was very narrow-minded before moving to Colorado. And then one of both mine and your best friends, Renee, our best friend Renee, him,
course
he
I know Renee.
happens to be gay. And he has
Renee's gay.
Renee is gay. But he is one of the most gorgeous, in shape, genuine, caring, amazing people I've ever met in my life.
He's a great guy.
He is somebody I will just lay myself in front of a train for because of how amazing he is. He cares about people. And, like it's just so insane. And, going to Club Q, we went to drag shows before. And I remember talking to you. I remember one of the, it wasn't one of the first times I hung out, but I remember telling you, I was like, yo, dude, we're going to drag show tonight. And we wound up going over Bergeron's and I'm like, yo, dude, we're going to drag show. Like, you mean like drag shows, like, you know, the strip? I'm like, no, dude, like drag show.
Yeah.
And like, we had some of the best times we've had dancing and stuff like that happen to be at some of the greatest drag shows would happen to happen at Club Q. And unfortunately, Club Q had came into a shooting not too long ago and stuff like that, which was super shitty and super terrible. And if you look at the interviews, his whole life is fucked up. No excuse. His family's fucked up. And he's just this fucked up individual that thought it would be cool to go in there and just unleash mayhem on these people.
Yeah. No,
And
I think that's about right. Like, you got to be sick in the head to decide whatever your personal views are on the situation, that you think that you're going to go in there and solve it with a gun. You're out of your mind.
Nope, you're an idiot. You're an idiot.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, you know, I thought about that, but like, it also reminds me, because we talked about, you know, I feel like,
But let me back up before you move on to that.
you're not dipping into red t-shirt guy yet, are
Not
you?
yet, not yet.
Okay,
I just
cool.
want to go ahead, and we talked about Renee for about 5 seconds.
Yeah.
And I just want to say, like, you know, like I said, it's 2023. I do believe that our culture as a whole is a lot more progressive in a lot of things than it used to be. That said, it doesn't come completely absence of challenges either. And I think for like a guy like Renee, like, although it might be easier than, say, someone 20 years ago, 30 years ago to be in a lifestyle like he has, I'm sure it's not without challenges.
Yeah, you're not difficult.
And I admire
free.
the shit out of guys like Renee and females in the same way that can live that lifestyle. And I'm not going to say that he's completely without like certain difficulties that I don't even fully comprehend.
Yeah, it would be naive of us to say that we are like any subject we talk about, that we are the subject matter experts on what it feels like to be a certain way.
Yeah.
Or have a certain preference or knowledge base or whatever it may be, right?
Yeah.
So I agree with what you're saying, because realistically, we really don't know what it's like. We really can't compare the challenges that they face, or that, you know, a transgender man, transgender woman, you know, gay, straight, you know, whatever the fuck, you know, it may be. You know, nobody cares, because we're all humans and we all care about each and love each other. It's really naive to say that we could like put ourselves in those shoes, because realistically we can't.
No,
we really don't understand it. And the best we can do is be there for our friends and those people that need a shoulder to lean on, or, you know, someone to just vent to and stuff like that, and be supportive of anybody and what they believe in and their preferences and whatnot. And I remember we were talking about Club Q.
Yep.
And we were talking about Red T-shirt guy.
Yeah.
And I remember one of the funniest stories about us going to Club Q. And, you know, this comes back to like, you know, any of our viewers and listeners right now, you can like look up the Club Q shooting in Colorado Springs. And like you said, it was just this deranged man who decided it would benefit him to go in and shoot up this, you know, would happen to be a predominantly gay club.
Yeah, and fuck that guy. I mean,
oh my god, dude, he looks so ugly, dude. He wasn't even good looking. Not that it would make.
Oh yeah, you want a good looking shooter. That's
I'm sorry, but like, dude, like, just a such big piece of shit. You look at some of the interviews with him and his family. This dude has obviously been fucked up for a long time, right? Like, it is not just like someone wakes up and they're like, they do this. This dude has been fucked up for a huge amount of time.
Yeah, I don't know what's gone on in his personal life. Not that any answer there would justify what he's doing.
Nothing.
But I think this guy obviously is suffering from some type of mental issue,
some sort of trauma, maybe.
I think there are plenty maybe of hardcore conservative people that do not approve of this type of lifestyle, that might obviously still condemn someone that wants to shoot somebody. I don't know.
That's what I tried talking about before. I remember going to when we were working together in Colorado, and we were at that company. I had this one dude. I had this big argument, and this one dude was like, I asked him, I was like, "Hey man, what if you happen to get with a transgender woman?" And he was like, "Well, I beat the shit out of her." And I was like really? Would you guys? Like, yeah, dude, how dare like we start hooking up and then I find out she's a man, or she used to be a man, or she identified as a man, or whatever it may be. I was like, well, it's not their problem, dude, that you find them attractive. So because you took the steps and now you find them attractive, it's their problem, Now they're going to reap not the benefits, but the repercussions of how you felt about them. You obviously took the time to interact and, get a part, be a part of this person's life and, be into them.
Yeah.
And now you're going to get pissed off because you find them attractive and, I don't understand. Like, do you have an opinion on that? Like,
So
do you kind of
obviously,
get what
I
I'm
think-
saying? Like,
yes,
how
I think
dare
that,
you
like-
be pissed off at them because you found them attractive?
I think that and just trying to put myself in that situation, it's never happened to me where I've had any type of relationship with somebody and then I was surprised by whatever equipment they were equipped with. That's never
Yeah.
happened to me. But I would say resorting to assaulting that person is absolutely the wrong answer.
100%.
Like, I suppose I could understand where you might feel misled, where you were expecting a certain thing and you did not receive the certain thing.
Mhm.
But assaulting someone, attacking them, shooting them, of course, way wrong answer, way overboard. You need to deal with that in a more adult, responsible, mature manner. And unfortunately, I don't think that that's a common consensus. I don't know. There's a lot of people out there that would speak words like that. And I think it's not good. It's not constructive. Even if, like, they say, I'm going to kick that guy's ass or whatever. Well, maybe they wouldn't. A lot of people just say things, but
Yeah.
I think that's breeding a real negative atmosphere towards that type of thing.
I agree with you. I agree with you completely. Now, let's lighten it up a little bit. I remember we were down there at Club Q, and we were doing one of the many drag shows that we have watched at, Club Q.
Yeah, I mean, we've gone there, in full disclosure, we're both a couple of straight males, but we go there and we would watch a couple
The
of
talent,
drag
dude.
shows.
Dude,
They
tell me the
sing.
talent.
Some of them dance.
Oh
It's
my
it's
God.
fun. It's lighthearted. They don't take themselves too seriously, it seems. Everybody just goes there to have a good time.
The talent they have, the effort they put into these, costumes, just going, coming out on stage, performing a performance, right?
Yeah.
And then going back, they're changing, rushing through, and then coming out with a different uniform in like 5 minutes and performing a different set of whatever it may be is super admirable.
Yeah.
I think I couldn't do that. I could tell you right now, I don't think I could like run back out and just change uniforms like 3, 4, 5 times and like be like, put on all these different shows. It was super hilarious, super fun, super amazing to experience.
Yeah.
But I remember, here's my experience with Justin.
Nice.
Here's my experience with Justin and Red T-shirt guy. I remember I went to the Club Q, with Justin, Pizza John, and Renee. And we're all hanging out there. We're having a good time. And I remember like thinking to myself, I got to pee. I got to urinate out of my penis, right? So I get up, I go into the bathroom, and I sit there and I unzip my pants. I'm in the urinal. I'm like this. Bzz, 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 bzz,
How'd it go?
bzz, bzz, bzz. That's my
Okay.
zipper.
Yeah.
You hear that?
Yeah.
That's my zipper. So I go bzz, and I pee, and I'm starting to pee, and this guy in a red shirt comes up, and he does that like hand pressed against the wall pee, where they're bracing themselves. They're
Yeah,
like,
there's gonna be some pressure coming out, I guess.
yeah, they're like, oh my god, and like he looks at me, he's like, hey, are you Cuban? And I'm like, yeah, what's up? And he's like, hey, I just adopted a kid that was Cuban, and I'm like, oh. That's really cool, man. Hell yeah. Like, awesome. Good for you. Like, great. More power to you. He's like, hey, man. He gets like really breathy over the wall of the stall where the stall's like this.
Mm-hmm.
And he goes like this. Hey, man. I'm like, yeah. Yeah, what's up? And he's like,
You're at the urinal. You're a little exposed.
yeah,
right
I'm
now.
at the urinal, man. I'm still pissed. He's like, hey, is that your friend with the cute smile? And I'm like, he's like, yeah, I'm like, what? He's like, yeah, the guy in the red shirt. And I'm like, Justin, the guy that never smiles? I'm like, he's like, yeah, he's got a really cute smile. I'm like, oh, okay, yeah. He's my buddy. He's like, yeah, good for you. Good
Yeah,
for
that's
you.
not me. I don't know who he was referring to.
Yeah, no, it wasn't Justin.
No, it's fine. I can appreciate a compliment as much as anybody
wait,
else. And what am I
what
going to do? Oh
happened
my
that night?
God.
Did
He
red
complimented me.
t-shirt
I'm going
guy
to beat him
not
up.
pursue you? Like, I remember you giving me this one thing where you're like, he keeps following me. Like, tell me about red t-shirt guy and you that
Yeah,
night.
so red t-shirt guy, from my experience, I saw him a couple different times throughout the club, and I felt like wherever I went, because there's different areas in the club you can go. You can go up to the bar, you can go to the dance area, you can go out back and smoke, you can go to the bathroom.
Yeah, wherever
There's
you
a
need
few
to be.
different places you
The
can go.
everybody, as we call it.
And it just seemed like every time I looked over my shoulder, he was not too far away. And I'm like, holy cow, is this guy kind of like sort of following me around the club?
The fact that he was like, your buddy with the nice smile. And I'm like, I don't really see him smile ever.
Oh, I smile every once in a
Yeah,
while.
every once in a while. But I was like, all right, okay, cool. So obviously he saw something in you that you didn't see. In
Yeah, I mean,
yourself.
what am I gonna do? Oh my God, I'm so offended. I'm gonna beat him up. No, that's stupid. I'm not gonna reciprocate those feelings. I'm not interested in men.
If
But
he said to you right then, and
I mean,
there,
really, I'm in his environment. So I mean, at that point, like, hey,
you're
man,
in his,
cool.
you're in his court.
Yeah.
If he said to you right now, hey Justin, I know you have a red shirt on,
Yep.
but I will rock your world and make you feel happy, what would you have said?
I would say I'm not interested. No, thank you. But hey, power to you. Like I don't mind.
What if he
at
said
all.
it's okay? I drive a GTR, and at this, when I'm not driving that, I drive like an incredible Corvette that makes like 1,000,000 horsepower.
What am I supposed to do? Be like, cool, let me drive your cars around and lead them on? Like, that would be dishonest.
Yes, I would.
No.
I think the general consensus of this conversation has been, I think, the whole transgender LGBTQ community has had a honest disservice done to them. And I feel like we are not the guys that are going to be like, hey, what's happening is wrong. As we can say that, but I feel like you said before, I think I like kind of went off topic, but I feel like, I don't know. I don't think we can put ourselves in those shoes until we're really there.
No.
And the least we can do is understand to the best of our knowledge and try and kind of like support our friends and, people who matter the most to us in those communities, and really just support the prosperity and diversity and everything that's involved with being a part of one of the greatest, countries on earth,
Yeah, well, I think in a lot of ways we're just kind of fortunate to have that time that we had just sharing a friendship with Renee, where like it probably broke a lot of stereotypes and ideas we had in our mind of like what it meant to
Yes.
be a gay man.
Yeah.
And like I know before I really got to know him too well, we'd worked together for a little while, and you'd never know just with speaking with him that he was into men.
He's the most straightest gay man you'll ever meet.
Yeah.
He is the most straightest. He is so straight. Like, I don't even know. Like, he is just, it just angers me. It just makes me so angry how gorgeous he is.
Yeah.
And in shape. But, like you said, dude, it's fortunately enough for us broken a bunch of the stereotypes that probably we, preconceived notions that we've had about certain people and certain
100%.
stereotypes, and like, basically open our minds to different things. But hey, listen, guys, it's been a great episode.
I think it's a good one.
I think it was nice to kind of like tone it down, I think, a little bit, right, from the last episode.
Yeah,
like,
we were real excited. We had a fresh guest on and everything, but we're coming in here. We're still talking about things we want to talk about.
Exactly.
And if they interest you, that's awesome. If they don't, well, I guess fuck you.
as much as we like talking about, fucking pussy,
Yeah.
shitting on wieners,
Yeah.
BDSM, conspiracy theories, penises, vaginas, and butts, it's great, awesome, cool. But also we do enjoy, I think, just having a little bit of civil conversation, and bringing those, very most basic concept and conversations back to the people that I feel like, mean the most to us.
Well, I think no matter which one of these episodes is your favorite one, you're going to see more things like it. So
And-
if you prefer this more subdued episode, you're probably going to see more of that. If you prefer those a little bit more excited, stupid, raunchy ones, you're probably going to get more of that too.
Exactly. I feel like if at anything, at any level, you can find one episode out of all ours that you like
Oh yeah.
and stuff like that. So, hey, listen, you're listening and you're watching In Gear. I'm Titty Flip Thomas. That's Jessica. And you're watching and listening to In Gear.
Sean, take us out.